welcome to my channel, it's JeGaysus. Funny thing is I wanted to wear my shirt, but now it's kind of out of frame. Didn't think about that. And we're gonna be doing makeup, and I'm gonna be telling you my coming out story. I'm gonna try to get this done in 30 minutes if we can, so like, good luck to all of us. I have some music. I'm doing it for me to keep myself calm. We're gonna just do makeup, and I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna try to actually use the mirror as much as possible. I'm really bad at using hand mirrors. I do not understand how people do it, but we're gonna try to do it as best as we can. It's the Morphe Gay one. Is that cute? So first we're just gonna start off with primer. I'll say what the products are in comments, but I don't have like affiliate links or anything. And get into it. I came out when I was about 12, 13, something like that. Yeah, so I came out around 12. I came out officially in 7th grade, 8th grade, but here's the thing. I was forced out. I did not come out on my own accord. Not 7th grade, sorry. It was 9th grade officially, but I started knowing I was gay around 7th grade. So let's set the picture for you. I live in a small town, not gonna name it, but it is Cowboy Central, and all the guys are Wranglers, Jeeps, trucks, all of that fun jazz. You know the types. They're not exactly non-homophobic, okay? I was in a very small class. We had a 7th and an 8th grade combined class that was 13 kids, literally 13 kids. And a lot of them were Mennonite. At the time, I was extremely religious. I was just non-denominational, coming off of a Baptist upbringing. Very much unaware of what gay was. It wasn't something that was even talked about within my church. It wasn't something that was talked about within my school. And I had a friend, and we were best friends. We were talking, we were chilling, we were doing the thing. I think I can say his name. His name was Jason. We started talking after being friends for a couple months, and he was like, oh yeah, so I'm bi. And I was like, I have no idea what this means. What is bi? Mind you, at this time, I'd already discovered the internet and exactly what it had to offer, if you know what I mean. And so I knew I liked guys. My awakening was during the Terminator movie when Arnold came down and was just there. I realized there was something going on that I liked. It started making a lot of sense because he's like, I'm bi. And he explained to me what it was, saying I like both girls and guys. Now, I didn't know this was a possibility, and nobody told me. So my surprise just grew to like adoration. I just wanted to know everything about it. I myself decided, okay, I'm bi as well. I had a girlfriend at the time. She was gorgeous. She went to a different school because again, mine was filled with just like Mennonites. Okay, so we're gonna go with a wide foundation brush. I got this CoverGirl Olay crossover, and it's actually pretty good. But again, this is a trust the process kind of thing because I'm not always great at my makeup, but it comes out good in the end, no matter what. Back to the story. I was like, this makes so much sense because at this time, I thought I was emotionally attracted to women, but I was sexually attracted to men because I knew from the computer, once again, that I did like men, but every single guy in my life, from my dad to the guys in my school, with, again, cowboys, were not what I would want in a man. So I was like, I don't understand how anyone could ever want a boyfriend. That men are just the worst, and that's still true. So I was like, okay, so I'm romantically attracted to women. I will date women, and then I will have sex with men. It makes sense, right? Yeah, I think it does. So it's like, okay, I'm bi too. Did I tell anybody? No. Did I tell my bi friend? Absolutely not. We weren't there yet. But it at least gave me a little bit to work with. I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew that there was a name for it. I finally knew there was other people. Usually I would have put my concealer on, but I'm nervous, so we're just going right on. We'll put it on after. How about that? I didn't teach myself on like YouTube or tutorials or anything. I kind of just got in here and started playing. I'm all self-taught, so that's why I do all my technique wrong. Don't come for me in the comments unless you want to help me. So going to high school, we were going from a place where I had 13 kids as friends. Now we were like, you know, I'm gonna be in a new place with 2,000 students, people who I've never known, people who've never known me, and I was like, I'm gonna come out from the very start. It's so much harder to talk to your friends, to introduce and say, by the way, like the coming out process wasn't for me. I didn't want to go to all those 13 kids and tell them. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna come out to all my new people, reinvent myself. They've never known me. I'm gonna go to school and come out as gay. Bi at the time. I went to band camp, which started a week before school. I play flute and was like, here we go. This is the time. I'm gonna use this to like kind of spread it up and get it going. I was like, okay, because I have a very gay voice, if you will. First question, people came up to me and they're like, are you gay? 2 people specifically. I automatically denied it. Here was the chance, and I was like, no, why would you say that? Of course not. No, not gay, but thank you for asking. Try again, I'll see you later. They didn't stop asking. That was not the end. Oh, no. Quite the opposite, in fact. They decided that they were going to pester me on it every single day. And they're like, you know, I'm bi. This guy, we can say his name. Peter's bi. Like, it's not weird. You can tell us. Like, we know there's something going on with you. You know, if you're not, it's okay. But we just understand that you might need to be taking some more time until you decide. And then they told me Peter had a crush on me. And I was like, what do I do? So I decided to say, yes, you caught me. I'm bi. It's official. Yay. And they were like, duh, I knew it. You could not hide this. You're so obviously one of us. I felt like a relief. I said, okay, here, we're doing the thing that I said I was gonna do. School hasn't technically started yet, so we're still right on track. And we went forward with it. Because Peter liked me and because I had no idea what I wanted in life, we decided that we were gonna start dating. I was a freshman at the time, he was a sophomore, tale as old as time. So that was that. We decided that when school started, we were just gonna introduce ourselves as boyfriends. That way you don't even have to come out to anybody because it's super easy when you're walking around school holding hands with another guy, they figure it out. Now, we were the only two gay identifying men, and that's the important part, in this school. Remember, this is 2004. There was not a lot of gay representation anywhere, like Will and Grace on TV maybe, but definitely not in like any kind of kid atmosphere. It was still very much taboo. So, being in a small town, we were the only ones. I was fine with that. I got bullied mainly by men. The women didn't seem to care nearly as much. Let's get this a little bit. But the guys were relentless, right? Guys will be guys, I guess. I don't think that's an excuse. They would be giving me death threats. They would be, you know, pushing me in the halls, doing all that sort of thing. You're gonna wanna make sure your makeup gets in your hairline here. I'm talking to myself, that's what it's about, right? Let's go over some of the actual danger points. It was a very racist area. I'm mixed race, I am a quarter black, and when they found that out, much more help. So I took the bus home, which is a long 1.5-hour bus. I lived way out of town, and one kid would sit directly behind me. Again, no last names, but Walter, you know who you are. He would threaten me. He would hold and like grasp my neck like he was choking me. He would say, one day, I'm gonna bring a gun to school. I'm gonna bring a gun to school and I'm gonna shoot you dead. And in my stupidness, I honestly looked at him and said, okay, cool. You do that and I'll bring my 22 and we'll see who has a faster shot. Let's go. I wasn't afraid of anything as a kid. It didn't stop him from bullying me. No. But it did show him that I wasn't gonna just be put down like that. And he's like, well, I'm gonna get a group of guys together. We're gonna tie you to the back of my truck and we're gonna drag you across the gravel. Men. This is why I said I couldn't date them. Anyway, skipping past that, that's pretty much as bad as it got. There were some rocks being thrown at my head. I used to walk home from school. People would yell slurs out the cars I drove by. You know the word. And then they would throw rocks. Every man in that town was awful. Except for my boyfriend at the time, Peter, of course. We'd kissed by this point, and I think it was actually when I had my first kiss that I realized, oh, I can be romantically attracted to men, and I can be sexually attracted to men, and I can marry those two things. I'm gay. What I wanted from women was just like a friendship. I wanted that personal connection. You can have friendships with women because they're great and move forward with that. Oh, my Farrah brushes are my favorite. We're gonna go into contour mode. I have so many drawers of makeup, it's not even funny. Using this, okay. Yeah, I'm gay. I decided that. Came out officially to myself, to the world as gay. Again, at 12, freshman year. I was an early starter, so 12 going on 13 that year. And it was great. Like, at least I had a place. I was doing my thing. I had a boyfriend. Oh, we gotta get quiet for this part because I do like really intense bronzer. I'm not recommending everyone do this, but that's what I do. I'm not used to doing my makeup in this lighting. Blend that right into the hairline a little bit. Get whatever's left off. I like this palette because it has 3 different colors. It has like dark to like darker to lighter, and I use that to blend. Okay. We'll blend, right? Or we'll get this going and then we'll blend while I continue the story because this is too hard to do without my big mirror. I can't see. I didn't like this side of my face, only this side so you can see me. Okay, so we're gonna go straight down here, sharp angle, straight down here, sharp angle. Now we're gonna go in with the lighter middle color. Connect them. A little up top to round off, but not a lot, they tell me. Oh my God. I'm messing up already. It's okay. It's okay. This is just a first run on YouTube doing things. It does not have to be perfect. Get some lighter color for when I blend. So, where were we at? here's where it gets crazy. Obviously, we weren't very discreet. We would walk around, like I said, with my hands on his hands. We would kiss sometimes after school out on the lawn before getting onto the bus. It was a whole thing. Well, the school board took notice of this. They decided that it was unsafe for us to be kissing or holding hands, which, I mean, they weren't wrong, right? I was getting death threats. I was getting things thrown at me. They didn't know this, but they could assume because of the place that we lived in, the target being on us as the only two queer men in school. They could figure it out. So they decided that would be in their best interest if they told my parents that I was gay. That's how they're gonna stomp that in the foot. My mom's cousin was a secretary at the school, and she took it upon herself to tell the school board that, like, she would make it happen. Here comes what happens. My parents at this time was extremely evangelical. So I'm sitting at home one day, because I stayed home sick, and I was sitting at home. We had a long driveway. It's like an hour, not an hour. It's like a mile long driveway. And so I see both their cars, one by one, following each other in. It was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was like, oh gosh, something's wrong. Like, they have 2 different jobs, they get off at 2 different times, and like, something's wrong. I thought somebody died, to be honest. Like, I was like, this is not gonna be good. So I braced myself for whatever news it was, and they were like, you're gonna need to sit down at the table for this. And I was like, okay. They're like, we know that you're gay. And I was like, how did you know that? Like, did you go through my cell phone? Where's this information coming from? And they said, you know, the school told us. Which, by the way, I don't know if it was then, but it's definitely illegal now. I was like, okay, well, yes, I'm gay. And then my mom cried, my dad cried. She pulled the whole, was it me? Did I do something? Did I do this to you? Was there something I could have done better? And I was like, no, like, I think it was just because I'm gay. Of course, she threw the whole, is it because you're a molested thing? Because I was molested at a young age. I'm pretty open about talking about my traumas. And I was like, no, I think it's just because I like guys, okay? So my dad asked the question, do you have a boyfriend? To which I said yes. His name is Peter. We've been dating for about 6 months. He was like, okay, so here's the deal. I don't care what you are. We're still gonna love you, but you can't be gay. At least not in our house, not until you turn 18 and you can move out and do whatever you wanna do. But as you're living here in a Christian home, you can't be gay. You can be whatever you are, just not actively. You can't have a boyfriend, you can't promote it, you can't show it to people. Of course, we're worried about you. This life leads to depression, alcoholism, all that fun stuff. And I was like, okay, how are you gonna stop me from being gay, essentially? Are you gonna take me out of school? What's going on? They said, we're going to take your phone. That way you can't talk to boys you like. 2004, pre-Grindr, pre-apps, I was like, you're gonna take my cell phone. Huh? I was like, you do know I still go to school with Peter. I could write him a note in class, slide him a note. I have French class with him. Yeah, they didn't really get how technology worked, I guess. That was my punishment. I didn't have a phone for like 3 months after that. We went to the pastor. Actually, they went to the pastor before. This was all his idea. They got guidance before they came to me. It's so hard to blend while holding a mirror and talking. I don't know if anyone's ever tried this, but this is like way harder than it looked. Props to all the beauty bloggers. I'm trying to diffuse it a little bit. It's just turning into mud. Yeah. So, moving on to some blush. That was pretty much the start of how everything got worse. My parents decided, as good Christian people, that they should take me to a conversion therapy place. An ex-gay place, if you will. This was 3 hours away from us. So we had to take every Thursday off to drive 3 hours there. And then we would have a personal session, a family session with my mom and my dad, and then a group session with me and other guys around my age who were dealing with sexual immorality. Let's go through that really quickly, because again, I'm trying to keep this on a time limit. In this specific place in California, you cannot have a religious agenda and be a therapist. So though she claimed to have taken therapy classes, she was not licensed in any sort of way. It was an older woman and a guy in his like early 20s. I don't know, it's hard to tell when you're a 12-year-old. I assume early 20s, right? He supposedly had gone through the program himself and found success in ex-gay conversion. I remember in one of my first sessions, I had asked him how that went. You know, like how long did it take? What was his experience? And he said that he'd been in the program since he was 16, 8 years or so, and he knows what it's like in the beginning. He knows how it feels to start and not know who you are or where you're going and all that jazz. And I was like, okay, cool. So like you've gone through the whole conversion process. Does that mean you are no longer gay? Do you have a girlfriend? And he said, no, I don't have a girlfriend. And I was like, okay, are you attracted to women? And he said, no, not attracted to women.
What?
I said, okay, then how do you consider yourself straight? And he said, well, I wouldn't say I'm straight, but I no longer have the desire to sin against the Lord, and I just don't have sex with men. I still have attraction, but just those thoughts, and I stop them where they are. And I was like, these are $100 sessions, mind you, $100 per session, so $300 because of the 3 sessions. And I was like, you didn't become straight, my dear, you just became celibate. At this time, I was 13 and I had never done anything sexual with a man. I was still, in my head, very pure. I didn't understand why they thought I was something gross. It was just pure childhood attraction. It wasn't acting on anything. This guy spent 8 years of his life and so much money to try to become straight, praying it away, and at the end of the day, he just chose not to sleep with men. We could all do that. That's easy. At that point, kind of sucked it up and knew, like, I'm not gonna give a lot of energy to these people. I'd never really been ashamed of my sexuality. I wasn't praying at night for God to change me because I knew, again, that I wasn't perverted. I wasn't a bad person. I was a really good Christian, actually, and I was wanting to become a missionary. So let's get into that for a second. As a missionary, I'd raised money to go to India. I'm very against missionary work by now. That's not like something I would ever advocate for. We're going in with a pinker blush now, Neutrogena. I didn't show it to the camera, but the other one wasn't blushy enough, so we're gonna just kind of go in higher. I like to drag it up towards my temple, covers up some of that bronzing, you know? So I had raised money to go to India, and we were gonna evangelize to all those, you know, poor Indian people who didn't have Jesus in their life, I guess. And after the church found out that I was gay, they decided that I couldn't. That money got donated to somebody else, and they would not let me go on that mission trip. Because in their words, they said, how could you teach other people about the Lord if you yourself aren't right with the Lord? That one killed me. That was gonna be my first time to ever travel. I, to this day, at 31, have never been able to travel internationally. I could have been on a whole different path. I could have seen things differently. I would have, I don't know. This is not the color I was going for. This is hard to do with not the regular lighting I'm used to. Okay, it'll blend out a little bit when we add powder. Yeah, so that was heartbreaking. That one devastated me, but not as much as this next part I'm gonna tell you. So you remember the whole group therapy part? You remember that? Too much contour. So, about that. We were in a group therapy. There's probably about 10 other guys my age, 13 to 15, 16 maybe, and they were all there for sexual immoralities. I was the only gay one. These other men were in there for sex crimes. And one moment that totally turned me off from this whole therapy experience, as if it wasn't the guy before, I was hearing a testimony from a guy who was in there for molesting his younger sister. He was 12 or something at the time, and she was 4. And the counselor turned to me across the table and said, see, here's the thing. He's going to be forgiven easier by God because at least his crime was committed in a heterosexual way. Yes, it was his sister. Yes, it was molestation, but at least he's attracted to women. You are always going to be attracted to men and always have that thought and that sin nature to fight against. So it's going to be harder for you to gain God's favor and forgiveness than it is for him because you can never truly repent. Let's just sit with that. Let's just sit with that for a minute. I decided at that point, you know, again, I'm a good person. That guy, not a good person. Me having an attraction to somebody, not even close to abusing somebody. So I decided right then that I would never open my mouth. I would never talk about anything, even if it was just regular thoughts or feelings that had nothing to do with gayness. I decided I was gonna put up my walls and we were going to block everybody out. I think it was a good choice. And that still haunts me to this day. I know people are gonna be in the comments and they're gonna say, that's not how it works. All sin is the same. Yes, that's true. All sin in evangelical Christianity is the same, but do you not see a problem with that? Do you not understand that, no, there's sins that are not the same. Somebody stealing a piece of candy at 5 is nowhere close to somebody sexually assaulting somebody. To say otherwise is ludicrous. And that's the problem. This is why we see people like Josh Duggar and pastors who abuse their ministry to commit sexual acts. I'm putting on highlighter now, sorry. I have a blush highlighter duo. It's because they see it like this. They see every sin on the same plane. They think everything's equal. So repent and it goes away. It's fine. Do whatever you want to do. And yet they still put so much focus on gay equals bad, don't they? No gay, but everything else is forgivable, including child stuff. Like, you know, the Catholic priests. Oh my god, that went on so heavy. And not only do I think that's not the case, I think we need to start looking at it top down. There's definitely a hierarchy. If you've hurt somebody and you continue to hurt people and that's your life, that's way worse than somebody who steals a piece of candy once. That's way worse than having an attraction. We're not going to get into how homosexuality is not a sin in the Bible. We will do a different video on that. And I think this channel is going to be kind of like doing my makeup while we talk about my favorite Christian criminals, including Duggar, but I didn't have anything prepared and I just really wanted to use my new equipment, so we're gonna just keep on doing this for right now. But let's go into the Exodus convention that I went to. Way too much highlighter, so we're good there. I like to do it right around the brow too, just kind of draw it out. And we're gonna blend just a little bit. So I went to an Exodus convention, and one thing about that sticks out for me that I like to talk about. Another moment when I realized these people are freaking crazy. A lot of adults, some of them like me, were there with their parents, but there was a lot of adults who were there on their own. I don't know if it was because they were gay, but a lot of them probably were just there because they had a gay family and didn't know how to deal with it. I thank God was not checked into the months-long Exodus program. I was there to see what it was like, and my therapist wanted us to sign up from there. So I remember that the guy, the founder of Exodus, can't remember his name, maybe I'll insert it here when I Google. He came up on stage and he told this story. And this is, again, when I realized these people are crazy. He described when he was walking in the grocery store the other day. The woman in front of him, it was an older lady, she had a friend, and they're in their 70s, and she picked up a TV guide. And she looked at the cover, and it was a Will and Grace cover. And she said, you know what? I just hope that Will finds a good man. And the room gasped audibly, like, like it was the worst thing. He said, I know. It's become so normalized that people who used to have traditional values, old women, good white Christian women, are now in the agenda hoping that this gay character on this gay show has a relationship that's not God ordained. And that is sick. They are airing this on television. I was like, these people, that's the worst thing that they've had to deal with. I can't be around them anymore. So I decided at that point, I'm not gonna listen to a word anyone says. I no longer respect these people. I know I'm a good person. Anything anyone tells me religious-wise that X is a sin and X isn't, I'm gonna ignore them because I know very much who I am. Went with the school board too. I had to sit down with the school board and have a meeting where they said, we need you to go back in the closet still. I'd broken up with my boyfriend. Actually, I did because I had another guy I liked and this was a perfect out. That sounds so bad, but again, 13, but the guy was a senior and had no interest in me. Anyway, the school board was very much like, we still need you to go back in the closet because gay. We told you, no gay. No gay here. Okay, we're gonna use this first. It's a Physicians Formula multicolored powder blend, and then I set with this. Yeah, so they, once again, said we need you to go back in the closet for safety. At least not be loud about it. And I said, we're not gonna do that. They said, well, this is a life or death matter. We've received death threats on your behalf, and about 10 years ago at the same school, a kid tried to come out, and he was murdered. He was beaten to death. And I straight looked them in the eye and I said, then let them kill me. At 13, I was ready to die for what I believed in, because if they kill me for who I am, who looks bad in that situation? I'm willing to go down as a martyr, hopefully make news about it, because it needs to change. I have nothing to do with that. If somebody in this world wants to take me out, that's on them and them alone. Brave at 13 years old. Probably want to do that now, and I don't recommend anyone else does that. Your safety comes first. Stay in the closet if your safety is at danger, period. Moving on, I started a GSA. First in my school, became president. I kind of co-started with a senior who left, and I took control for the next 3 years. I dropped out of high school because I was bored. I was a little bit ahead of the curve. So after they already didn't like me, I was gonna do a protest in which I had all the school walk out. This wasn't over gayness. This was purely over, I didn't like how schools ran. I started to find out because of in-house suspensions, because of being truant, that they get paid if you're there and they don't get paid if you're not. You are literally just a ticket to them. They do not care about you for anything except for the money that you're bringing in. You're a head in a seat, and I did not like that. that. So I was gonna have a walkout where we all have our own school, where we choose our own subjects sitting on the lawn. I had 5 different schools in California, all the way up to San Francisco and Oakland were a couple of them. So they invited me to test out. They said, we invite you to not go to school anymore. We don't think it's a place for you to be. And I said, okay, bye. So I went to college at 17 instead, testing out and getting my diploma equivalent. Yeah, has nothing to do with being gay. I just thought I should throw that part in there. But let's get back into my parents. Because of the time that was spent and the sheer amount of money that was spent on going to these counseling sessions, the house environment got really bad. There was a lot of fighting. There was a lot of verbal abuse, physical abuse. My dad attacked me once and I ended up getting arrested for it. It's a sponge, don't worry, I don't have a criminal record. We can go into that in a different video. I'm gonna add some color to my eyes. For the color of my eyes, I kind of just use a little bit of bronzer, unless I'm gonna do a full eye makeup look, which we are not today. If you've seen my videos, you know this is like my not JeGaysus look, and then I talk to JeGaysus when I'm fully done up with the eye makeup. That's how we do that. So, because of all the abuse and all of the tension in my house, my parents ended up breaking up. They got a divorce, they moved to different houses, and just like that, magically no one cared that I was gay. My mother said that it was my father's idea. He wanted a son, he wanted somebody masculine, and that wasn't what I was giving him. My dad, who had converted to Christianity from my mom on the other hand, said, I grew up in LA. I had gay friends my entire life, drag queens, trans friends, ever since I was little in Hollywood, and I loved them. I have no issue with you being gay. It was your mother, because it was a Christian thing, that she wanted to push that on you, and I had to go with it. So they both blamed it on each other, and as soon as they were separate, neither had a problem. And a lot of people ask, like, they put you through a lot, like, between the arrest, the gay therapy, how do you get along with them? They didn't care. They loved me. They thought they should care, and they acted accordingly. So that's why I don't hold it against them, and I still have a great relationship with both of them. As I get older, I realized that they were doing what they considered to be best. And they did it out of love, even as misguided as it was. I don't think that they hatefully did it. I don't think they hatefully wanted me to change. I think they were scared. Not even scared for my salvation. They were scared for how the world would treat me. They were scared that I wouldn't be able to handle that pressure that people in homophobia tends to put on us. And I understand now, as I'm older, that that's what it was. It was a reaction out of fear, not a reaction out of pain or anger. And that's helped me as well. My mom and I are going to actually start a YouTube channel going over this whole process and going over how she kind of broke away from Christianity and became spiritual, but more importantly, how she came to accept my queerness through learning. Now we watch Pose together. She loves I Am Jazz. I get to teach her about new things like being non-binary, and it's great. It's great. It gets better. That's what my message is to you. It gets better. It can be hard. It can be crazy. Oh, I don't want to get makeup on my merch. Okay, we're not gonna do a full neck. We're just gonna kind of blend it out so you can see it up close. It gets better no matter what. Worst comes to worst, if you're an adult, and again, if you're gonna lose family, but you have the means to move out on your own and you're ready to come out, go ahead and go for it. Because even if you lose your biological family, one thing that any gay person can tell you is that it is a culture where we make our own. I'd also put like a little bit of bronzer here, you know, just to give me some more clavicle, and there, but I have huge clavicles already. Collarbones, I mean. Are they the same thing? Clavicles? And anyway, any gay person will tell you that the biggest part of our community is choosing your own family. Even me, with having my family, I moved as soon as I could out of this homophobic area to LA. Like as soon as I turned 18, it was adios. I dropped out of college. I'm now going back to school, so that was probably a bad choice, but chosen family is what got me through living in LA. And you'll have that experience no matter where you are. The queer community is your family. When you see us at parades and straight people judge us and say like, why do you do this? Why do you do that? Why does there need to be a straight pride? It's because it's the only place where we can feel gathered as a people, like we belong. As a gay person, you're always coming out. You're walking into a job and you're gonna have to tell people one by one or just as a mass. In the grocery store, people will look at you being like, is he, isn't he? It's a constant process of being one little thing dropped in the center of a whole bunch of straight people who are assuming. But that's not the case at Pride. Okay, one last thing. I need to take down this bronzer still a little bit more. So I like to add more blurring powder to blur that out, you know? This is just translucent. It helps to smooth down some things. If you want to get down to like the nitty gritty of how I started deciding other parts about my sexuality, because over the past couple of years I've started to learn I am also ace. I'm on the ace spectrum, I should say. I'm more like gray asexual, and I'm non-binary, more on the cis side of non-binary, because I'm like, you know, he, they. I don't mind if people call me he, because I understand that my masculine presentation is a thing. It's been a journey, and it's always a journey. Sexuality is a journey. It's gonna change day to day. And if you're open to that, even if you're a straight person who's like, I understand I can fall in love with somebody and see past their genitals, go with it. Like for me, example, Hillary Duff, perfect woman, would love to be in a relationship, married, all that jazz. I think we did it. I think we were able to get there in 30 minutes. And okay, let's see if we can do a close up. It's a little hard because my camera's on a tripod. Oh, I guess I can zoom in. One sec, let's see if we can do this. Makeup. Kind of a natural look, right? I mean, if you've seen my videos, you've seen what it looks like, but that's the process. Again, I just taught myself, and you can teach yourself too, I guess, maybe. And we're gonna be getting into like an actual category one day. Like I said, we wanna do like true crime, but only Christian killers, or I had another idea. We'll get there. Comment what you want to see. Follow me on other socials. Make sure you're going to click and subscribe. All those usual things. If you hate the makeup idea, tell me in the comments. Don't dislike the video, because that would just hurt my feelings. Let's start making a community here as well. It's gonna be super exciting, and I thank you again for all the follows, all the support, all the likes, and if you have any questions or you just need to talk about some of the situations that were brought up here, feel free to reach out, and I will do my best to try to give you any kind of advice that I can. I'm not the best at that, but all my social links are in the description as well. I'm just a Beacons link that has everything listed out. Ways to support the channel, ways to get this shirt, ways to find me on TikTok and Twitter. So I will see you next time. Let's hope this fucking mic worked and the lights came out okay.